Now, a student is using science to prove his belief that same-sex unions are wrong. The Nigerian student has won awards from his country, and he says with this one he used magnets to prove homosexuality is, quote, improper. Now, a student says he was conducting the experiment with North and South Pole magnets, which we know the opposite-facing poles attracted to each other while the same poles repelled. He says the same theory applies to life and same-sex marriage is wrong. Patrick, you're like cracking up over here. We do need the context.
This is absolutely absurd. However, you're right. The context is we're talking about Nigeria. Nigeria punishes homosexuality, and within certain parts of the country, it's punishable by death. However, let's look at his argument. This guy is confusing philosophy with science. Philosophy is about reasoning things out. Science is about actually experimenting and being able to measure it. Let's look at the argument. If like repels like, then he should be actually doing his thesis on why like attracts like with homosexuality, because it makes no sense what he just said.
And there's the argument, too, of people saying, you know, we shouldn't even be talking about this story because now we're spreading that across the world. What do you think about that?
Well, of course, the problem is that the more attention you give it, the more significance you give it. It doesn't warrant any significance, it just warrants a laugh and then moving on to something more interesting. But ultimately, if you're going to try and use logic, look at it logically. You can't apply the fact that, oh, this is opposite, the two things are the same, therefore they repel each other. Well, that's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that's all we have to say about that one, right?
Well, as I said, let him do some real research. Let him find out if like is supposed to repel like, why do two men who are like each other actually attract each other?
That'd be a better one.
That's a good thesis.